If you got product data and you don't know how to explain this and communicate this with your team, this one is for you. Hey, it's Gary, 3 times head of growth. Today, I'm going to share my experience on how to influence the team using product data. So when we first launched PLG in 2022, we had no data, zero. But about 9 months in, we started to have customers coming to the door, visitors on our platform, free users signing up, and we started to see retention rates, and we're tracking where people click on inside the platform. But here's the thing, just because we had the data doesn't mean I could influence a lot of those product decisions. A lot of folks on my team, whether it's product, engineering, and design, they're not very familiar with some of this data and how that ties back to the ultimate goal. So we first aligned team on the metrics that matter. And our first step was looking at those metrics, starting with the business outcome. For us, the big goal was increasing sales and closing PLG deals. And then we bubbled that down to supporting metrics like activation rate, time to value, retention, clicking on paywalls. And so we have to click clarity and clearly map out how these metrics bubble up to the business outcome and also cascade down into actionable tasks for each person on the team. And this just gives clarity and alignment to everyone, engineering, design, product, and what success looks like and how each individual projects will contribute to it. So once we had alignment, I took a big step back and I asked the team, well, how do we go about solving this? And my role wasn't to give answers. It was to guide the team and create a space where they could brainstorm solutions and take ownership. And a lot of times, yes, I know what needs to be done, but it wasn't my responsibility or it wasn't my role in that. Because if I did explain what needs to be done, then I'm going about explaining the details to the people that are implementing it. So first, I pause, I listen, I ask the team how we could solve these challenges and let them present their input. And then I document who proposed what, and then encourage and champion those ideas to the specific people. And the ideas that match with what I kind of wanted to go towards, we dived in deeper into, and so it gives a lot of sense of ownership to the team and like empowering that individual to experiment, iterate. And a lot of times it is about, hey, how do we know what the paywall is going to work? Maybe we should A/B test it. How do we know which onboarding flow is going to work? Maybe we should create 2 of them. And those are the types of ideas and solutions that I want my team to come up with and then slowly own and feel inspired by. And once we have all these ideas, we started to execute and A/B testing the paywall, onboarding, tooltips, and we reduce the scope, and so we could prioritize better. And a lot of the times, this stuff does take 2 to 3 months because you got to finish out what it's already on the product roadmap, and then you're crafting this new experiment, this new small testing idea, and then you got to make sure that it's coordinated, slot it back into the roadmap, and then collect the data. So it does take about 2 to 3 months. But one of my experiences, don't say that it failed. Don't say experiments failed. So for example, one of our paywall tests converted 1 customer, but instead of calling it a failure, we saw it as a sign that there's some interest. And so we should continue to iterate and improve upon it. And that's the kind of the narrative you should provide to your team, because in my experience, when we say it failed, and this sense of like this failed again, and another idea failed, it's like, why are we doing this? It just doesn't jive with a lot of people, a lot of non-growth people. This doesn't make sense. Why are we building things that fail? Yes, we're building things that we can learn, but like, I don't want to build things that fail and then I got to go fix it. That was kind of a lot of the objections that I had kind of behind the scenes in the back room, talking with some of the leadership team, listening to how our junior engineers and junior designers are thinking about things. So the takeaway is really pause and listen, support certain initiatives, champion that ownership, reduce the scope. There's no failure, just signals to go deeper. And empowering some of the junior team members. So once this process gets started, I started to hand off that ownership to my junior team members, like junior PMs and designers, so they could lead the projects. Because a lot of that parameter and the scope of work has already been mapped by our senior engineers. And so it makes sense for our junior PMs to step in and do more experimentation, dive deeper, empower them to come up with ideas to try. And it allows me to step back and do more of the traffic directing role. And allowing them to run with these experiments will be a great experience for them. Influencing your team with product data isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating alignments, fostering ownership, embracing some of this experimentation and learning. And that's the PLG practice and the culture we want to set. By having this process to be data informed and strategic, that's how you can iterate on your self-serve onboarding and self-serve PLG motion. Follow me on growthwithgary.com or feel free to subscribe here to learn more about how to execute PLG, lead and operate and launch and be successful in SaaS.